All systems go. Clear for takeoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation Cash Games show for Week 7 of the NFL season. And man, it's a tough one for cash games. We'll go through, talk position by position. We'll hit on FanDuel. We'll hit on DraftKings as well. But man, it's an ugly one out there. So kind of curious to see where we end up going into Sunday. Goal here is always to develop the player pool. Head on over to SHIPITNation.com, and we have you covered for 4 cores on FanDuel, 4 cores on DraftKings. And as always, I'm joined by my guy Title. And we're not going to be talking about cash games out of the gate. We're going to be talking about the Thursday night showdown slate where my guy took down a cool $81,000 last night. Hell of a win. Super exciting, and just continues the positive momentum we've seen over here at SHIPITNation.com, not only from a lot of members. I mean, a lot of members have been winning, but our team has won as well. So, Title, congratulations on that big win last night, man. Exciting stuff.
I appreciate it, my man. Trying to learn from you. Big hits throughout the whole career. Trying to be there as a cash game player, starting to dabble more in tournaments. But man, you got to get lucky. You got to get lucky to get up there. And sure, that I did. I got lucky. Foster Moreau, he catches that. I didn't look at people behind me, but I assumed the Moreau something happened. Yes, I mean it's showdown. Everything changes the bunch. But yeah, I needed the car bonus to pass Trevor Lawrence. It was like a $27,000 chop with the Lawrence. Got the car up there and then needed him to drive to stall. Coach burned the timeout. You texted me, you and Bobby Gomes too, texted me when the 4th down was incomplete. And I forgot that they used that timeout. I'm like, it's not over yet because I thought they still had their 3 timeouts. I don't know why they burned their timeout on that drive because he's, I guess, still have a chance. But yeah, it was quite the sweat as it always is. Got really lucky, very thankful. And for all the words, I mean, what a community we have here. All the words last night, this morning, all the love out there. Too many to respond individually to, but I'm looking on Twitter. I'm looking in Discord, all those names. I really do appreciate it. And what we have here is special. So thanks for the words, Hoop.
Yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, it's a big win. When I texted you and you're like, not over yet. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure it is over. And like teams in those situations, they never use the timeouts. Like if you don't have enough to eventually get to a punt, they just don't use them for some reason.
They used it right away.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, maybe they did have 3 timeouts and it's not over, which I mean, it probably would have been over regardless, but it was weird of them to use the timeouts, but man, it was a hell of a win. And like you said, you got to get lucky. The goal is to always put yourself in position to get lucky at the end. And the more opportunities, more times you put yourself in that position to win, it's eventually going to pay off in a big way. And it did last night. And other members won as well. So super exciting stuff. If you're not a member at SHIPITNation.com, good time to get in. NBA is right around the corner. And we have the code NBA10, gets you 10% off any membership plan over here at SHIPIT Nation. It includes all the sports going on right now, NFL, MLB playoffs, NBA, which starts obviously on Tuesday. And we released the NBA product. Me and Tambo did a show laying everything out, and that should be here on the channel. PGA is still going on. Big time UFC card, which Title and Marley broke down prior to this, so make sure you check out that. Then NHL.
And our man Sheets out in there too.
Our guy Sheets, thanks to Sheets for hopping on. Hell of a guy in our Discord, providing tons of winners. So, I'm looking forward to that one tomorrow. I haven't watched the show yet. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to play it back after. But man, that's Any quick thoughts on the UFC 294 slate tomorrow?
Insane. Well, first thought, 10 a.m. Eastern. So set an alarm. If you're not going to get him in the morning, get him up at night. 13 fights. Awesome. $200,000 to first. And it's a card. I mean, I don't think you have to get crazy. I mean, so many 10, 11 fight cards recently. You don't have to be crazy to still build a unique lineup under 5. Not just really chalky. I don't think you have to go off the beaten path. So one of the best cards I can remember as of late. A lot of big names, awesome title fight up top. Co-main's great. I mean, it's one of the best cards of the year in my opinion. So super.
Yeah. Cool. Man, I want Volkanovski to win so bad. Like, I'm pulling for him. Like, I want it to happen. And like, I believe like the talk, like he said, he's going out there guns blazing. Like, he's like, I can't get cute. And he has to, like, he knows he has to. And I think that's going to be obviously it's going to be a fun fight to watch, but I think he has a chance, man. I think
he definitely does. You were on the fight one, I believe, too, at way bigger odds, and it was quite the fight. So yeah, it's going to be a good time tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to get the early start. All right, in terms of cash games this week, one thing that stands out to me at first is a lot of not just low totals, very low totals on the slate. I'm going to read them off real quick. 40.5, 40.5, 37.5, 37.5, 37.5, 43.5, 44.5, 43.5, 45, 48. A lot of very, very low totals. I have the solver up here. Obviously, we're partnered with the solver. You can get the link on our plan page to become a member at the solver. Everything automatically uploads in here. You see I have the SHIPIT Nation projections loaded. And one thing you're going to see, this value column. Usually there's a lot of guys that are popping as positive values. You don't see a ton down here, and especially the big names. This week, there is not a lot of just overall positive value, which is going to make this slate very interesting when you start to build cash teams. Now, for tournaments, I think one thing you can definitely do is leave a lot of salary on the table because we just don't have the spends, which you'll see when we go through. But for cash games, how do all these low totals, how is that going to affect our lineups this week, do you think?
It's a tough slate, man. You keep bringing it up. Like, some of these spots, we have some injury news that can open up some stuff. But, man, it's more of a mid-tier balance. Like, I'm not seeing the stars and scrubs route as much. Like, tight end's a position I want to save. I know that. Quarterback, people are saying it's tough. Quarterback is tough. There's options all the way up top to Mahomes. There's options all the way down. So that position's tough. A couple plays here and there, but when we talk through it, I'm interested to hear a lot of your thoughts. But my initial thoughts, it's probably the hardest week for cash games that we've had throughout the year so far. And like you mentioned, so many low totals, that's going to lead to pretty tough decisions. And the pricing's good at first glance as well. So I'm excited to talk through so many different routes. And that's what we want. Like, there's nothing worse than, you see it more so on FanDuel, I guess, but a 60 out of 100 people of the same team or half the field on DK. Like, you want, as a player, people to be different. I think this week definitely offers a lot of different ways to go with roster construction. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just hop right into it. We'll talk DraftKings quarterback. And as you can see here, only a couple of guys showing up as positive values in our projections here. You have Baker Mayfield, 5.3, Russell Wilson, 5.4. Have a full punt if you want to go there. I just don't know if we need it this week. And Aiden O'Connell at 4,700. Geno Smith down here at 6K, Jordan Love at 5.8. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go. Obviously these higher end guys, the higher price guys, will sort by salary. Patrick Mahomes not shown as a great value. Josh Allen not shown as a great value. But this is a raw points sort of slate. This is a slate where you're just going to need to get as many points as you can, not necessarily look at the value. So I don't think I'm going to necessarily take these guys out of my player pool. They create a nice floor. Even Josh Allen showing as a terrible value, but he can certainly get there if he, rushes one in. So I don't know. I think there's just a ton of different ways to go at the quarterback position. Honestly, nothing truly stands out. I guess for me, Geno Smith stands out as a name. I mean, the Seahawks are in a good spot. One of the higher team totals on the slate. He's sitting at 6K flat. I think getting exposure to Seattle makes sense, whether it's through quarterback, running back, wide receiver. So he stands out to me as a play. I guess Russell Wilson, he's been awful. I think he's a terrible real life quarterback. He is a terrible real life quarterback. But at 5,400, he'll run a little bit. I don't know. I guess two names that kind of stand out to me are Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, or again, I don't necessarily hate builds where you end up spending at the position, and I'd probably just go with Josh Allen. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I agree with almost all that. I think if I spend, I think I'd lean into the game environment with Mahomes. That's the one game, 48 total against the Chargers. So you expect them to compete with points there. So I think he's my favorite. And again, that is definitely, I'm considering spending up at quarterback at first glance for sure. Now, if I don't go all the way up to Mahomes, my thought is probably down to Geno, and that's the price that sticks out the most at 6,000. You get this Cardinals team who's definitely overachieved this year, but one of the higher team totals on the slate for the Seahawks. They're second at 26. Good matchup. That price tag is very affordable too. So Mahomes, Geno, and then if it's not them, I think I want to save. And I think Baker and Russ, our two highest value projected right there, are my two favorites. Man, it's like, who do I want? I want to say I probably just prefer Russ to Baker. I don't have a strong lead at all. And I think that 100, I'm totally fine going Baker if I can't find the 100 for Russ. Outside of that, though, man, watching that Aiden O'Connell game, his first start, I don't think I want to put myself through that suffering.
Yeah.
Again, that lowest total there. Pickett, I don't know if I want that. Yeah, I think Sam Howell's fine against the Giants with some rushing upside, but mainly I think it's Mahomes up top, Geno in the mid-tier. As you're picking right now, my two favorite value, I think Baker and Russ. Otherwise, guys down there to save money and spend up elsewhere.
Yeah, we'll flip over to FanDuel and see. I'm assuming it's going to end up being a lot of the same. Let's see.
Bring the noise. So, no Wi-Fi issues today? Yeah, it's because I'm at my buddy's house. There's probably would be Wi-Fi issues at my crib. So
after last night's performance, you better be posting up there for a while. You better be posting up through Sunday.
Yeah, that was the plan anyway, so it's gonna happen. Yeah.
There you go. On FanDuel, so some of these guys are actually showing up as solid values overall. The price tag's really low at the quarterback. I mean, really low. Baker at 6.6, Matthew Stafford at 6.7. I definitely like that. Geno 7K. Lamar Jackson. I mean, 8K. I think is too cheap for him. I mean, he still has the multiple rushing touchdown upside. We've seen it this season. 8K. I think it is a fine option. Now, you look at who are the other spends. We talked about Mahomes. He's at 9.2. Herbert's at 9K, or not Herbert. Allen's at 9K. I kind of would just rather go with Lamar Jackson. So I think Lamar Jackson's the highest I go. I'm fine with, Baker, Stafford, Geno if I need. Russell Wilson's not as necessary over here. So as it stands for me, it's going to probably be Lamar. Honestly, probably Lamar or Geno are the two that I'm kind of looking at FanDuel right out of the gate here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm in lockstep. Like, I still like Mahomes, but that 1,200 from Lamar, I don't think I like him enough. I guess if salary became more relevant, maybe there. But the Lamar's price tag is what stands out for sure. Great matchup against, or not a great matchup. Detroit's actually solid, but they're going to need to use Lamar's legs. I like the Lions offense. I think this game stays competitive, one of the better totals. Lamar, just for that price tag, should be a decent floor, high ceiling. So yeah, I'm with you there. Mahomes feels safer, but again, with that price tag. And Geno's the other one. Like, there's not a reason to go at, you don't need the Bakers of the world, the Sam Howells of the world on FanDuel with pricing like this. So Geno at 7K, as cheap as I'd go. I think FanDuel quarterback is much easier than DraftKings quarterback.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think you just have some more clear options over here on FanDuel versus DraftKings where, man, we always talk about it, but you play someone in a head-to-head, there is a lot of quarterbacks where I'd look at someone's lineup and say, okay, that kind of makes sense at the quarterback position. There's not just like 4 or 5 guys. I think it's a big group of guys that you can potentially play at quarterback on DK, but on FanDuel, much more clear. I mean, I'm looking like these two, Geno and Lamar Jackson. So let's talk running back. We'll stick here on FanDuel, see what we can find. See, we get the full punt and Zach Evans. What is his workload going to be this week? Well, at 4,800, it doesn't have to be all the carries. And, if he finds the end zone once at 4,800, the play makes sense. He's projected for about 10 fantasy points at home here. I think he is a fine option. Jacobs at 8K. He's popping up as our second best value. I think he's a fine option. Good matchup against Chicago. I mean, he's been so shitty this year. I mean, the Raiders' offense has been so bad. But, Jacobs, they're going to continue to feed his ass. Like, they're committed to this guy. So if he can get it going a little bit, he has 25 touch upside in a good matchup, a team that's kind of, I don't know, I'd say like quitting already, which is kind of wild because it's only week 7 of the season, but the Bears are kind of giving it more Seattle exposure. You're paying a premium for Kenneth Walker, 8.8K. Don't hate it. Gibbs, encouraging words from Campbell today, or I don't know if it's today or yesterday, where it's like, there's no choice but to give this guy a good chunk of work. Now, will they do that? It's yet to be seen. But again, it's a similar situation at 6'2". I don't know if he needs to get like all the work. Like at 6'2", he's such a dynamic player where just a work increase would be big, but he's going to have to be involved in this game without David Montgomery. So I'm fine with him at the 6'2" price tag. I've been playing a lot of Pacheco. Like they're committed to Pacheco. And the one thing I've noticed over the course of the last couple of weeks, they're willing to check down to him, and that's huge. That's game changing. Now, from a scoring perspective, it's more valuable over on DraftKings when they're willing to check down, but on FanDuel, you definitely will still take it. You're not going to not take it. So in on him at the 7.4 price tag gets you more exposure to the highest total on this slate. Those are kind of a few names that stand out to me. What are you thinking here, FanDuel running back?
Yeah, I'm looking at our values. Zach Evans all the way down to Pacheco. I guess I'll start with Pacheco because you just talked about him, but good price tag, or a solid price tag. I think a fair price tag is a better word. To the highest team total on the slate, though, and he's minus 115 to get in the box. Like on a FanDuel, like we don't care as much about catching passes. Pacheco, yeah, he's a little more as of late, but still a downhill runner. Chiefs will move the ball, will be in the red zone. They're favorites, 5.5-point favorites, so it should be a good script. Like everything checks the boxes for me. With Pacheco, I'll just go from Pacheco all the way up because I think those are the best plays. Jahmyr Gibbs, great price tag. No David Montgomery. I mean, the dude's good. He just needs opportunity. Got to expect an opportunity there this week. I mean, if he doesn't get it, hopefully tournaments, the lineups I don't have with him. But Gibbs looks hard to get away right now at 6.2K. Ford, I like Jerome Ford. I think he's better on DK just because of that Gibbs price tag on FanDuel. Like, give me the $400 savings with Gibbs. But I think playing Ford and Gibbs is definitely fine in lineups too if you want to spend up elsewhere. They're in a dome. Kareem Hunt was more involved last week, which good for the best ball shares, not as good for Ford, but he still was the lead back in that offense. So good price tag for a starting running back is the thing behind him. Kenneth Walker and Josh Jacobs, the two spend running backs if you're going to spend. Just looking at it, I think I prefer the 800 savings with Jacobs, but man, Kenneth Walker, good size favorites at home. He doesn't run into his own offensive lineman at the 1 yard line. Like Kenneth, that 800, I wish I could get. I'm not sure I'll be able to, but it feels way, way more comfortable than the Jacobs click. And then Zach Evans, there's no Kyron Williams. Rams, they can move the ball. Puka, Kupp, all that. Who knows how the running back room will look? There's good, like I said, Kupp and Puka. You can throw it to Kupp right in the flat and use that as a run play and get 8 yards that way. So maybe more quick passes with no Kyron. But 4,800 for what should be a starting running back. You can't ignore that either.
Yeah. And at 4,800, like I said, it's like even if he doesn't get, everyone's talking about how much work is he going to get, all the work is going to be the starter at 4,800. He just needs some work. Like he just needs some sort of workload, significant workload, which I mean just seems like has to be the case because of their current situation. Let's flip over to DraftKings and see if anything changes for us.
Very similar in my opinion.
Go ahead and talk about it, but it looks very similar. I guess the overall value is not popping as much because the price tags on FanDuel are just much more low. It's a softer pricing over on FanDuel this week. So talk about the running backs here, but it's looking like the same guys here to me as well.
Yeah, no, I'm really seeing the same guys, like a much better. But so Kenneth Walker is 7K on DK and Jacobs is 7,400, whereas it's 8,800 for. So the prices are flipped, and I prefer the cheaper guy on both sites. So I don't really think we need to go above. Jacobs is fine. I think if you did a Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, you punt quarterback. Like I think that's a totally fine build too, but I don't think you need to spend more than Jacobs at running back. We talked about Jerome Ford, good price on DK, can catch passes out of the backfield. Zach Evans, the same situation. He's all the way down at 4K, min price. And then Pacheco, good price tag for the best offense, minus 115 to score. That's a good spot there. So Jahmyr Gibbs, 6,300. Price tag's definitely higher on DK, which makes it a little tougher, but he's still in cash game consideration for me too. I guess what are your thoughts initially, Pacheco versus Gibbs in that same range?
I'll probably go Gibbs just because I still don't trust Dan Campbell. He said that he's going to have a big workload. Kind of made similar comments in the past, and the work really wasn't there. So I want to believe that it's going to be Gibbs, but I still think no matter who is in there is going to be mixed in. Whereas Pacheco, like they seem like this is their guy, and his role is like increasing too. And it's a game they're going to want to win, a division type game. So I think I prefer Pacheco over Gibbs here. And then like if you're playing on both sides, you could do like a natural hedge, like we always talk about, where you play Pacheco on DK and then you play Gibbs on FanDuel where he's like much cheaper. So that's always a way to go, always an option. Something I kind of look to do too, like just the natural type hedge between the sites, just play the prices. So, but yeah, overall, I think it's the, similar guys between the two sites. And then Kenneth Walker's just a much better value over here on DK opposed to FanDuel, the 7K price tag versus the 88 on FanDuel. But, he's clearly let's see, do we have him project? We have him projected as a top guy this week. Yep.
And I agree. That price tag stands out.
Yeah. All right, check out wide receiver, and we'll stick with DraftKings. Do us a favor, though. Please hit the like and subscribe. Helps us a lot as we try to build this channel and continue to bring you guys as much free content as possible. All our shows are free. No premium shows, all free. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we'll continue to bring you guys these shows for free and many more. Wide receiver position, if we're just sorting it by value again, like nothing is kind of popping, but it is interesting that it is these more expensive guys that are showing up at the top of this list. Stephon Diggs has been incredible this season. His connection with Josh Allen is elite. He's 8,900. Keenan Allen, 86. Keenan Allen has been a cheat code basically all season long. Mike Evans is kind of showing up here. Zay Flowers kind of coming off a pretty solid game. You have Cooper Kupp all the way up at 9,500 though. That's a big boy price tag, but just so safe. Get the squeaky wheel narrative with Devontae Adams at 82. And I think he was like 12 or 13 targets with O'Connell in there last time out. So that is one thing to know. I think Joshua Palmer at 4,800 is a play. Lockett, I don't mind at 6K down here, especially, I guess, it sounds like he's going to play, but DK Metcalf, there is some question. I'm assuming he does end up playing as well. We have Puka. There's a lot of ways to go at wide receiver. The one thing I'll say is based on pricing this week, probably playing at least one spend at the wide receiver position is my guess. And then, probably hit some guys in this mid-tier. Marquise Brown has been great all year. Sutton at 5.2 seems cheap. There's a lot of guys in this range, even Bourne coming off a monster game. They're probably playing from behind here against Buffalo. So a lot of different ways to go. I think you probably play one spend, though, at the position is how it's looking. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot. The wide receiver position is definitely spread out. Like so many of these names, we talked about it earlier. Only, 2 people are grading out as positive value for us. It's open. So breaking them down in the top range, Kupp, Diggs, Allen. You can't play Devontae and Cash this week. You can't play Amon-Ra. It's clearly, if you're spending for anyone, it's going to be one of those 3. Kupp, because he's 600 more than Diggs and 900 more than Allen, I think has me with him third on the list. But man, he just feels the safest click by anyone out there. I love my man Jefferson and all that, but when Cooper Kupp plays, he's a walking 20 with upside for 40. So in cash games, I don't know. I'm leaning the Diggs and Allen, you get the price discount, the savings in the best game environment. He's looked great too. Diggs only 300 more and you save 600 from Kupp. So I still think I'm going to have Kupp third initially, but dude, there's something about Cooper Kupp that makes me feel so good in cash games. Oh, yeah. He's so good there. So yeah, take your pick for anyone up in those 3.
Yeah, it just with Cooper Kupp, that first drive, he's getting 3 targets. If they're moving the ball down the field, he's gonna 3 catches, 40 yards. Okay, you feel pretty good about that. He just gets peppered.
So good, converts them all. So yeah, talking about some other ones. Yeah, that Hollywood price tag 5,300 wide receiver 1 should be trailing 2. That stands out. You mentioned Joshua Palmer, just that game in general. I like Keenan. I like Palmer. It's tougher to get to the KC guys. I wouldn't get to any KC receivers, but good price tag for Palmer there as well. Who else we got on the list? Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne, he's got to be their best wide. Juju, absolute cheeks. Parker, Kendrick Bourne's the guy there. 4,400. I think he's fine. Zay Flowers at 57, wide receiver 1. Plenty good with him as well. Scrolling down a little bit, Terry McLaurin, I mentioned him GPPs. I played him on my main GPP team last week. Like, I don't love the matchup, the spot, any of that, but he's 5,400 as a wide receiver 1. So just another guy, Chris Godwin. I don't know if I could do that Godwin price tag. It's mainly the guys 1 through all the way down to Cup, I think. Mike Evans price tag, I'm not sure I love that as much. Sutton in play there, and then Josh Palmer below. Curtis Samuel, I think you can add in as well. I think I agree with you. It's probably 1 spend wide receiver and then 2 mix in the value. But I don't think you need to go like 3K dumpster diving. If I had anyone down there, it'd be Wendell Robinson at 3,800. Running a lot of routes in the slot. I mean, we were way ahead. Giants.
Oh yeah, we were talking about him his first game back, and I mean, they actively try to get him involved in the game, and he's 3,800. I'd be totally fine doing
that. He'd be the
that.
lowest probably as of now. Yeah,
agree. And I agree with you. You don't have to take the risk this week just because there's not the spends like overall with your lineup. So yeah, don't.
It's tough though, man. Like
it is.
Terry, Palmer, Hollywood. Like there's a lot of options, and like what's spend up. It's a great week for cash for sure.
It really is. I mean, it's not going to be a week where you see these massive trains. That's for sure. I mean, there's just going to be people going so many different directions. Let's hop over to FanDuel, and we'll stick with the same position, see what we can find. Wide receiver. And so Godwin at 6,500 is popping as our top value. And 6,500 for Godwin, I do happen to like that price tag for sure. Safe bet to just to rack up a decent bit of points. I mean, all the targets and stuff. All the receptions obviously scores better on DK, but at 6,500, you'll take that. Zay Flowers has a cheap price tag. Devontae Adams at 8K, I think is a play. I probably prefer him over here opposed to DK. Diggs at 9K. Where's our boy Cooper Kupp? They got him all the way up to 9.7. His game fits DK scoring better, but man, he's just a safe option for fantasy points. We talked about the Chiefs guys. I mean, I don't actively want to play Chiefs wide receivers, but if you need a cheap guy like 5,600, like I'm fine playing Rice. I mean, appears to be their top guy. Like he definitely is the main target. Bourne at 5'8", I think is a fine option. Puka cheaper over here at 7,300. Definitely cool with that. Jerry Jeudy, one of those situations. Jeudy is a better play on FanDuel. Sutton's a better play on DK. Not saying you need to play either of them, but 6K I think stands out as a price tag, and he's got to be a little bit motivated. I mean, dude's talking shit about him and whatnot. Like he's got to be motivated to do something. Again, the problem is he might not be all that great, and he has a really bad quarterback throwing him the football, so it's a bad combination there. Don't think I'll do the Keenan Allen at 9.2. If I'm going to play Keenan, I'll just do it over on DK opposed to FanDuel. And then where is Lockett at 68? I don't hate. I don't know. I think out of all those names I just rattled off, it's likely 3 of them that you end up playing this week. Anyone else here to add to the list?
FanDuel might even have a bigger pool for me than DK. I mean, it makes me so. As far as Keenan Allen, like I'm not playing him at 9,200 with Kupp 500 more and Diggs 200 less. So I know that. I think Diggs is fine, but this is where the Devontae most definitely comes in play, and Amon-Ra as well. 8,200 and 8,000 for them. I mean, that's 1,700 discount from Cooper Kupp, 1,200 from Keenan. So the top range, I think Diggs is fine at 9,000. And I want to say I probably have more interest in Diggs than Kupp because of the 700 savings. But that 800 and 1,000 from Diggs to Amon-Ra and Devontae is something I'll definitely look at as well. But I don't think if you didn't play any of them, like Mike Evans, that's a good price tag and a good matchup at 7.6. That Godwin price tag is really good. Zay Flowers, 6'3", wide receiver 1. Great price tag there. Puka 7.3. Like, yeah, I get Kupp's back, but Puka's still the man. Jeudy, I'm just going down the list. Jeudy 6K. JSN, that's interesting. They want to get him more involved. His route participation was much better last week. And you mentioned the DK stuff. I don't know. If I landed on JSN as the last piece, I think fine. But like it's harder. The JSNs, the Bournes, the Rashee Rice of the world, Sutton, like because Godwin is 65, Zay Flowers is 63, Puka's 73, even Jeudy at 6K. Yeah, they're a little more expensive, but when you're talking value and just what they should be, like they're all more appropriately priced, and I like their floor and ceiling combo way more. So I don't think you need to spend at wide receiver. Definitely can play one, but that mid-tier, I said, like if I land on Judy at 6K, I'm totally good with Jerry Judy at 6K. Like there's plenty of upside. So FanDuel, I think, is even tougher.
Yeah, and I just pulled it up. Metcalf, I didn't see anything today, but yesterday was still sidelined at practice. So that's definitely something to monitor, because then JSN becomes at 4.9, definitely a really, really good option. And then Metcalf or Lockett would also get a boost, probably better over on DK, but certainly would be in the conversation on FanDuel as well. But yeah, a lot of guys, I agree with you. I think more over here on FanDuel again, opposed to DK. All right, let's pull up tight end, see what we can find. So Kelsey is popping as the top guy here, 8,500. I think it's a slate where you can get to him if you want. There's some slates where I think you just go cheaper. Not opposed to playing him if you have the salary. Also, some really good cheap options. Musgrave, 5K flat, like 5K for him. And I guess this is one of the higher scoring games on the slate. When you look at it, the Packers in Denver sitting at 45.5, and that is the second highest total on the slate. That is wild. 45.5, the second highest total on the slate, gets you access to that game. Mark Andrews, I'd just rather find the money and just get all the way up to Kelsey. Ertz, Higbee, fine with that. Is Kincaid still?
No, I think he cleared.
He's good to go. Okay, so there's two research. Yeah, so I mean, it's probably. I mean, honestly, it's probably the two guys at the top of this list. Kelsey, Musgrave. Fine, I'd be fine going Ertz over Musgrave, Higbee, I guess. But I think it's either Kelsey or just come all the way down is kind of how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I want Kelsey. I would be more fine with Andrews than you. That 1,600 I think is enough where if that's how it all went. And I'm good with Andrews in that mid-tier. But, yeah, if I get Kelsey, I want it. That's what we're talking about. Like if you didn't play any spend-up wide receivers or some value at running back, stuff like that to get you Kelsey. But yeah, as of now, I want Kelsey, but I am more fine with Andrews than you, and I think I might even prefer the Andrews to the full punt at tight end this week.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he is somewhat close. He's in the middle there. I mean, 69.
I think it's just the nature mainly at running back, like Evans, Gibbs, like the injury, Pacheco's. Like I think there's enough, but if you can get Kelsey, I like Kelsey.
Yeah. All right, let's hop over to DK, where we're typically looking to go
Probably
cheap
not
at
Kelsey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you look at the price difference. So over there, it was what, 885. So you're talking 3,500 essentially. Yeah, 35. Now you come over here and you're getting a $4,700 discount going from Kelsey down to some of these cheaper options. Same dudes. Musgrave 33, Ertz 3.2. Dawson Knox even cheaper, all the way down at 2.9. So you get extreme value. And then Andrews 57. There's a $2,300 difference between Andrews and Kelsey over here. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get up to Kelsey at 8K on DK. I'm going to take one of these cheap guys, most likely Musgrave, Ertz, and I'll even say Knox as well, just because it's even cheaper at 2,900. Think you go cheap, and that's what it looks like. And this will allow you most likely to probably play maybe one or even two of those top end wide receivers. Now that we've gone through every position, I think the roster construction is coming a little bit clearer. If you go cheap at quarterback, you go cheap at tight end. We don't have spends at running back. You're going to be able to play two wide receivers, two high end wide receivers, and that's probably the play it looks like at this point. So cheap at tight end, I think, on DK.
Yeah, the more it's funny because right when we went to DK, I said probably not Kelsey, and I felt good about it. But the more you kind of just talk through, we're going cheap at QB. There's not really running back to spend all of that. Makes me think Kelsey is more in play than I initially, I think, stated. My lean right now is still to save, and I think it is the three that you did mention. Luke Musgrave.
I just want to build something on him. We're not going to go all the way through. We're not going to provide I'm just clicking random names. I clicked the cheap quarterback. I clicked, Kenneth Walker. He stands out as a clear play. And another punt at running back. I'll take a random cheap defense. I'm not going to look at the name. We'll take the Cardinals. Probably not playing the Cardinals, but we're going to plug them in here. And with this sort of build where you're playing the values and then all the cheap guys, you got $7,300 left. So yeah, maybe Kelsey is more in play than we're talking about. So it's basically a cheap wide receiver or a cheap tight end is how it's basically shaping up. Let's say we just plug in So we got the cheap. We'll plug in a cheap wide receiver and just see how much we have left. Yep, where's Bourne? Right here. Plug him in. So we're left with 8,200. So basically, you get 3 spends on this slate the way it's shaping up in cash games. You're going to be able to get 3 spends. Kelsey, 2 wide receivers, maybe even 3 wide receivers. And there's a lot of different ways. You get 3 spends. It's probably 2 wide receivers, or it could be Kelsey and another wide receiver, something along those lines. So yeah, just interesting thing to point out.
Yeah, like Aaron Jones is still questionable. Like the DK, like more value could even open up the later the season goes. You sometimes get Sunday morning stuff like that, which would make Kelsey even more viable. So yeah, I think either all the way up Kelsey or probably all the way down. I don't think I love the Andrews mid tier as much as I do on FanDuel.
Yeah. Don't talk a ton in terms of defense, but let's just see the Chiefs at home. I actually like this play. The Chiefs at home against the Chargers. A lot of people are going to look at this. Hey, highest total on the slate. I don't want to play the defense, but I don't know. I think the Chiefs defense is actually good. Herbert, man, I don't know. I'm starting to waver a little bit on our boy Herbert. He just has not looked great. He missed Keenan Allen a couple big opportunities in that last game. I don't mind the Chiefs defense at home, 2,400. Don't want the Chargers. I'd be fine with the Ravens. I like my Lions, obviously, but I'd be fine going cheap with the Ravens. Giants at home. I mean, their team has been awful, but at home against Washington, I don't think is the worst spot. Just a couple thoughts or anything stand out to you?
No, I think Chiefs is probably the cheapest I'd go to. That's usually kind of what I look at. If I have money, like, yeah, give me Giants, give me Ravens. I don't know. Ravens, I guess Chiefs pretty close, but Chiefs probably the cheapest I'd go. Always fill it out last. Just want to touch on this question last. What percentage y'all used wide receiver compared to RB tight end? And is it better roster the late plays in the flex? So definitely you should do the latest game should be in the flex, whether it's running back, tight end, wide receiver, whatever for the most or swapping equity. As far as what percentage I play at flex, I know tight end's definitely way lower than wide receiver running back, but I could not even guess at the top of it's all week dependent. Like last week, I thought it was clearly running back. Like looking this week, there's a lot of running back value again with injuries. So if I had to pick, it'd probably be leading running back but there's so many receiver options too, but it's all week to week. I saying any numbers, tournaments different. Tournaments, I prefer receivers. I don't exclude all that stuff. You can touch on that quick though.
Yeah, in terms of like the tight end and the flex, tight ends have just been underperforming. I mean, it's been like Kelsey and then just like everyone else. Like the tight ends, there just has not been those big performances. I tend to avoid it. Like I think there's some slates where you can do it, but there's got to be like very
how
clear
tight salary is
and how tight salary is, and like it's got to be very clear plays like at that tight end position because you're looking for people. The goal should be for everyone to get 30 fantasy points in tournaments. Can this guy get 30 for the most part? Like in your head, can you vision in the tight end position? We have not seen it this season. Maybe not 30. I'll take that back. 20, 25 range, whatever. But these tight ends, we just haven't seen it this year. They're not being used like they have in the past, and there's just not the big name tight ends out there, and they're not on this slate, that's for sure. So I don't like tight end in the flex this week specifically. Last week we talked about the running back in the flex. Last week was probably the strongest running back pool of the year, maybe even the last couple seasons. We really like running back in the flex spot. You are one of the first, even in cash games, I know, to consistently target wide receivers in there, but you play it slate to slate. I mean, you're not going to just jam in a wide receiver because you want a wide receiver in there. You're going to look at the value, assess the situation, and make the decision on a slate by slate basis, not just a hard and fast rule.
100%. And yeah, just the last thing to really add on, and why I mentioned the salary, like a slate today where there's so much salary, there's so many good options in a lot of price range. You're not starved for value. So I don't love punting or going 2 tight ends or one in the flex as much, because when I do, or when I am fine with that, is salary is really tight. Tight ends have a lower salary limit than wide receivers or than running backs. That is, and usually the receivers, the tight ends that are priced at 3,300s, 3,100s, the Ertz, Musgraves, the Jokus, they're actually on the field running routes a lot, whereas a lot of the receivers priced in that range are wide receiver 4s or something along those lines. So, salary not tight this week, so I don't love tight end nearly as much in the flex.
Yeah, we'll take a couple questions too if you guys have them. We're got done pretty quick going through the positions. Just real quick, defense. some cheaper available defense. Like the Giants seem solid on FanDuel. If you want to save a little bit, 3,400 at home.
They look good for sure.
Yeah. The Bucks, I think, are in play a 4K flat if you have a little more money. Colts at home, 38. I mean, there's cheap options for sure. I don't think you need to go up to this $5,000 Bills defense. I don't think that's in play this week. It's going to be cheap, and there's 3 or 4 just glancing at this different options that I'd be comfortable with. Saquon, Barkley, and cash games on FanDuel. I don't think so.
It just falls in that dead range for me. I'd rather get up to 400 more, or is it 500? 8,300 Barkley, 500 more for Kenneth Walker, or probably just save the 300 for Jacobs.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the craziest thing. To be honest, though, I think he probably will be low owned, and that's kind of where I waver. I play multiple sites, so you mentioned it earlier, Hoop. If I have a decision and I'm playing someone on FanDuel, not DK, I lean into that, but also sometimes I lean into ownership. And if someone's gonna be one side's way lower owned than the other, I do like to let them make mistakes in other spots that I'm confident. So I don't know if I'd love to be on the Saquon on the island in cash, but if you got a lean, he did get a lot of usage. He is in that between Walker and Jacobs, but probably not for me.
Better suited, I think, for tournaments. I mean, his projection is freaking low for 8,300 guys, only coming in at 12.5, and that's an industry standard number. A lot of sites have the same or similar number on him. So I don't mind him in tournaments, though. I mean, it's going to be one of the better spots for the Giants here, finally at home. They've been playing some tougher teams. Like, I don't hate the spot overall for the Giants, but for cash games, I want to be on them in tournaments.
I'd rather Bijan. I think he's fine at 7.5 too, just because of that price decrease. The thing with that is, or Brian Robinson, I think you meant Bijan. Brian's not. There's no way Brian's all the way up to 75. I know Bijan is 75, so Brian 73.
Brian 73. Prefer Bijan for sure.
And I think he meant Bijan too. The thing with him is just, man, Algier's in that situation. That offense can be annoying. Like the price is fair though. I played him at 8K or something recently. I think you can play him too. Can you play Evans and Cup together? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we just talked about those. Yeah, we talked about those builds. It's pretty easy to get. You're going to get 2 spends. We don't have really a spend at running back.
He's talking about Zach Evans. Like the running back.
I thought you were talking about Mike Evans. Yeah.
At first I did
certainly.
too, but then
you can.
People mess that up too much. Like the Lions week, I had 3 Lions tagged in my core, and people were like, "How do you do that?" Like I considered 4. Like.
In cash, you just need 2 out of 3 of them.
You need to beat 50% of people. I mean, it's a salary game and all that.
Those for cash games, like those questions. It's just you can load up if you need. Patriots defense, where the heck are they? Patriots, they are 3K flat. I'm not opposed to that. Like if you need the money, if you can find an upgrade, like we like the Giants, if you can use that $400 for a substantial upgrade, I don't mind just fully putting off the position for 3K flat. Aaron Jones is
questionable, so monitor that. Yeah. Please, no AJ Dillon back.
I don't even want to do it,
running backs.
We're done with AJ. No. Although he did look pretty good last time out, right?
Oh gosh, here we go.
Wasn't it right? What game was that?
I don't know. He ran for 6 yards instead of 2, or I don't know.
He was looking good.
What did the Packers play last week? They played.
It was a primetime game, right?
Yeah,
they played the Raiders. 20 carries, 20 carries, 76 yards, and found the end zone. So he's up to 3.8 yards per carry. Starting to trend, baby.
Yeah.
But I don't like him.
No, please no.
No one is going to play Sun God. We talked about him at wide receiver on FanDuel, 8,200. But you think he's a decent pivot in cash? Yeah, title mentioned him. He's in that range. Him and Devontae Adams, 8K, 8,200. They're a tier below those top end 9K guys. I mean, this dude just gets the job done.
I mean, he's another guy you plug in, and I ain't worried about, even if I played him, I think a couple weeks ago at 4% own in cash. Yeah. I'm good with Amon-Ra. He's one of those dudes I don't care. Like a Mike Evans at 4%, a little scarier because the range of outcomes a little wider.
Yeah. This guy, I mean, him and Jared Goff's great connection. No, David Montgomery is definitely a boost to him. They're going to pass it a little bit more. I just don't think you need the risk this week. Like a guy like Michael Wilson, I get it. Tournament play, though. I think tournaments for sure. Run backs in those Seattle stacks, totally fine with that. But for cash, I just don't think you need it. Agree?
I agree.
Yeah. All right. I think we got all the questions. Jumped on late. Lamar, FanDuel, yes, we talked about it. He's definitely, $8K is a really good price tag for him on FanDuel, where his game suits FanDuel scoring even better than DraftKings, where the rushing touchdowns are worth even more. Less passing dependent over on FanDuel. We both agreed that he is a very fine option at 8K. Cash and tournaments for sure. He's still got that 2 touchdown upside.
Plus 140 to get in the box too, and that's not including throwing. So good play.
Yeah, 1 touchdown and you're kind of free roll. That's a nice thing with these running quarterbacks. They find the end zone on the ground, like you're free rolling essentially the rest of the day for the most part. So yeah, cool with that. Great price tag. Just FanDuel though, not on DK. What's going to do it? Any final thoughts, Title?
No, it's a tough week, man. It's a tough week.
Yeah.
Tough equals good for cash games. Like I said, you want to avoid all million trains and all that stuff. That's no good for everyone. So yeah, core plays will be on the site as always tomorrow, probably a little earlier because MMA starts earlier. And I usually do it toward the end of the card, get stuff up. So another day, football, no better time of the year, man.
Yeah, and the momentum, like I talked about, just is building over here at SHIPIT Nation. We had the $1 million winner, our guy Dalton D-Dry on DraftKings, won the $1 million last Sunday, following up $200,000 win the week before. I obviously had the big win last Sunday in the early slate, along with a ton of other members. We had King of the Beach seats, we had live final seats. Title continued that momentum last night with the $80,000 win on that showdown slate. So congratulations to you, and other members came along as well. Make sure you check out the Twitter post that we put out. It had all the other winners in there. So if you do win, make sure you shout us out. We'll get you noted on Twitter and in our Discord. But yeah, we're gonna continue to push on here. Like, we're not satisfied with the wins we've had. We're gonna continue to work hard, get a good product out there, and get more winners. Not just winners, but I'd say like life-changing money winners. That's the goal. Heading in that direction. All our content will start to drop tomorrow evening. So make sure you get on over there, check it out. One last final push here in case you guys didn't see it. Code NBA10 gets you 10% off. Any package includes monthly, 6-month, annual packages. So that's this code's active for all those packages, and you get access to everything on our site, not just NFL. So make sure you get on over there if you're not a member. Appreciate your support. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on the way out. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Cash Show. Good luck this week in your contest. Get to that winner's circle and go ahead and ship something this week.